We only have had one race, and already it feels like silly season has started. Mercedes has once more built an uncompetitive car while having one of the strangest drivers duos on the grid. While Russell obviously hoped for more when he joined Mercedes at the end of 2021, Mercedes now has to worry about something completely different. In this video, I will explain the big mistakes Mercedes has made and what the consequences might be for their own behavior. Without waiting any longer, let's continue. The once so mighty and almost unbeatable Mercedes are now vulnerable. After winning a record 8 Constructors' Championships and 7 Drivers' titles in a row until 2021, they now face the worst crisis in their history. For the first time, Mercedes can't spend more money than anyone else and hire the best personnel by offering them the most money. No, this time the playing field is equal, and to say it out loud, they are struggling. Helmut Marko has no sympathy for the German-British formation and openly accused them of creating their own problems. But what problems does he mean? First of all, Mercedes let their lead aerodynamic designer, who was heavily involved in the Constructors' Championships from 2017 to 2021, transition to a position outside the F1 team. Instead, Mercedes opted to think that Mike Elliott could replace James Allison. Mike Elliott was the lead designer to develop the W13 in 2022 and W14 for this year, with its most prominent feature, the Zero Side Pod concept. What initially seemed like an amazing out-of-the-box concept that made the competition worry soon made way for laughter. Whereas Mercedes brought unique concepts like DAS and an extremely low floor to fruition in the past, they now struggle to come up with new and unique concepts. Although James Allison was the technical mastermind from 2017 to 2021, more problems arose for Mercedes. Engineers switching teams is not unique, but what has been unique is the amount of people Mercedes lost in the last couple years. Their number 1 and number 2 aerodynamic engineers left to join Aston Martin and Red Bull. Multiple high-ranked engine engineers moved to join the Red Bull powertrains department. And an insane amount of people that needed to be laid off due to the budget cap made Mercedes lose a lot of know-how. A year and a half ago, Toto Wolff said that Mercedes staff were made insane offers from teams like Red Bull to steal away his staff. However, he also said that he has faith in all the people that stayed and didn't let themselves be swayed by big money. Not even 2 years later, and the effects are clearly visible. Red Bull and Aston Martin, the teams who hired the most Mercedes engineers, are now flying, whereas Mercedes is sinking further. Wolff openly criticized his team that they are now further away from Red Bull than at the beginning of last year. He even went as far to say that Mercedes should completely forget about the title this year and go back to the drawing board. But what is easy to say is not always easy to execute. Helmut Marko responded to Wolff's comments of building a new car. How are they going to do that? I am very curious to see how they're going to do that. The budget cap makes it already difficult to constantly bring upgrades, so imagine building a completely new car. Did you watch the most recent season of Drive to Survive? In this season, Horner says that Wolff and Mercedes in particular have never been in a position where they had to fight back from such a big difference. Although Ferrari put up a good fight in 2017 and 2018, Mercedes still had access to unlimited resources to fast-track the upgrade process. It's the year 2023, and teams are only allowed to spend $135 million and have limited CFD and wind tunnel time based on the constructors' standings. So while Toto is still optimistic about changing their car and being competitive again in the future, it is fair to say that they are far behind other teams. This is not something I make up, but something that Wolff acknowledged himself. Aston Martin, under the influence of ex-Red Bull aero specialist Dan Fallows, built a car that gained 2.4 seconds in qualifying compared to last year. Mercedes was in awe by the gains made. To quote Wolff, "I have never seen such a jump forward happening in F1. But maybe Mercedes would have been able to make a jump forward if they didn't push aside the advice of their star driver on how to develop their car. Hamilton openly accused his team of not listening to him on how to develop the car. In an interview with BBC Sports, he said, "Last year, there were things I told them. I said the issues that are with the car. I've driven so many cars in my life. I know what a car needs. I know what a car doesn't need." I think it's really about accountability. It's about owning up and saying, yeah, you know what? We didn't listen to you. It's not where it needs to be, and we've got to work. We've got to look into the balance through the corners, look at all the weak points, and just huddle up as a team. That's what we do. Luckily for Lewis, there is new bodywork on its way. But is it enough? Rumors are that Hamilton put extra pressure on the management of Mercedes to replace Mike Elliott. It is telling how there is much tension in the team, which is normally known for its no-blame culture. Martin Brundle even plays it as hard to state that Mercedes openly refuses to go back to a concept that works. The Echoes so far win it from common sense, as he states. But also don't forget that they lost a lot of important people like Andy Cowell and James Voles. However, all this can have a much larger consequence as well. It is the first time we see tension rising between Hamilton and the team. Recently, Wolff criticized his star driver by saying, "He's a great team player and grown up enough to accept reality," Wolff added. "It doesn't help to sulk a lot. We have to try to turn this thing around." It is the last season of Hamilton's contract, and with him being 38 years of age, he doesn't have much time anymore for an 8th world title. We know Hamilton is motivated to win his 8th world title after he said he is continuing in F1 until he has his 8th title. But where will he drive? With Mercedes refusing to listen to Hamilton's advice, and with them building an underperforming car, it is a ticking time bomb. Lewis has said multiple times that he would find it an honor to drive for Ferrari one day. However, the enormous amount of success he had with Mercedes pre-2022 always made him say that he would finish his career at the German-British team. And yet, we know that the world of F1 is hard and things can turn around quickly. Ferrari always had an F1 champion as one of their drivers, but with Sainz and Leclerc, it has been the first time in a long time that they used a different strategy. Nonetheless, the amount of experience and knowledge that Hamilton would bring in would be enormous and can be the difference between winning the world title or not. Ferrari often made strategic failures while having the fastest car. Lewis could bring in viable knowledge to turn this around while benefiting from the rapid car Ferrari does offer. Before we continue, I would like to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me and the whole team. That this is one of the possibilities is something that Sky Sports analyst Lazenby also thinks. "I think if anyone deserves an opportunity to be in the best possible car to be racing Max Verstappen, it's Lewis Hamilton. He's not going to join Red Bull while Max is there. It's the desire of all drivers to drive for Ferrari. In the past, Lewis has been quoted as saying he would like to drive for Ferrari. If Ferrari moves comfortably ahead of Mercedes, I wouldn't rule it out." Even Jenson Button expects Hamilton to wait as long as possible to sign a new contract. According to Jenson, Lewis first wants to see changes and see whether Mercedes can offer him a competitive car. If not, he is likely to look elsewhere. It is strange to see so much drama going on with Mercedes. Just a couple years ago, they were the team to beat, and everything seems under control. Not even 2 years later, and things have turned around completely. Although we have only seen one race so far, Mercedes itself sounds the alarm bells. Whether these alarm bells are too late to keep Hamilton on board, we will have to wait until silly season truly starts. What do you think? Do you think Hamilton will remain at Mercedes? Do you think Mercedes can turn the tide with Red Bull? Let me know in the comments section below.